go to hello everybody, how you doing? Let's go to my library, to the video, to the one that we're on, and here we're going to post a link that you really do want to watch. Cool. Hello, Haley. How are you? Hello, Haley. How are you? Oops. Let's turn that off. Nice to see you, Haley. How's things up in Glasgow? How are you getting on up there? Are you confined? Yeah. Are you stuck inside your dorm or your flat or your house yet, or what? Have you still got a bit of movement? Are you going to work? Are you one of the thingy? Is this live? Yes, it is. Mighty Group. You've managed to find another live one. Ha 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 ha. Nice to see ya. To see ya. Nice. What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do? My favourite record at the minute. What's a man gotta do? Can't see. Put my glasses on. Can't see. Just didn't like the red love logo. Okay. Let's start again. Morning all. Just didn't see the red love logo. What's a red love logo then? Mighty, what's that? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Who else we got? Doing work research from home, but there's only so much you can do from home. There is. So why aren't you on this 1,000 shares then already? Been meaning to talk to you. Why aren't you on that? Let's get you on that, being as you're at home alone and you've got bugger all else to do. I've been doing it myself on a couple of accounts, and I've been doing it like taking me time, joining other groups like I showed you the other day, and I made a page in order to join groups from that page, which I find a lot easier. Hello, Danielle. Good morning, darling. So, yeah, you want to get on that. Now, while I've got your attention, Ailey, the next person I'm going to sort out is Nanny. And then when I've sorted Nanny out, I'm going to sort you out. All right? So, we've got Nanny next, which I haven't done yet. Still got to speak to Nanny. Once I've finished with Nanny, I will move on to you. And then, and I'm not putting anybody else in the list after Ailey. That's just the two that I'm going to do. And then when I've done the next one, I will tell you who I'm going to add to the next one, and so on. Got it, Ailey? So I will sort you out afterwards. I'd rather be in the lab. Yeah, I'd love to be in the lab. I would actually love to spend a week in a lab, right, with all the professionals in a lab. A whole week, proper, full day, everything. I'd love to do that. And just be in there and see whether or not I could contribute in any way, because I would love to know how my mind would work in a lab environment. You know, because I'd be going, well, what about that then? Well, what if you did this? What does that do? Then somebody explained to me what that would do, and I'd go, well, what if you did that and that then? You know, and I would hope that my mindset is such that at some point during that week, someone would go, we never tried that. Hello, Popcorn. So I'd love to have a go at that. But as Popcorn says, probably boom, I'd probably blow the lab up. You know. Now, Chris. would you mind removing yesterday's stream for me, please, as unfortunately you clearly displayed my name and address details. Did I? Okay. What we'll have to do with that then, Chris, do you think that you could download yesterday's stream, cut a bit out where I flash Judith's address, and then put it back up again? Because that's something I can't do. I didn't think I had, to be honest. You know, but obviously I have. So is there any way you can do that? Brilliant. All right, that'll be done today for you, Judith. Chris will copy that off, download it first, then he'll delete it off of, once you've downloaded it, Chris, delete it off YouTube and then cut that bit out and then put it back up. You know, well, while you're at it, cut out whatever you want and then put it back up. And then when you put it back up and you put it on the Facebook fan page, can you let me know? Alrighty, so that will solve that issue. Right, yes. Yes, I got banned from the labs at school. I kept making explosives. Yeah, I kept messing things up. They didn't like me. I know what day it is, Popcorn. It is April Fool's Day today. It is the 1st of April today. And I think anybody today that runs around playing April Fool's jokes is a sandwich short of a picnic. I don't think this year anybody should be coming up with any April Fool's jokes. And chances are half the April Fool's jokes that people will try and come up with will be coronavirus related, and then I don't really think that's funny. Bit subliminal. Hermes tracking number, you said me it should be 16 digits, not 12. Well, it was picked up yesterday. 16 digits, not 12. Tracking number should be 16 digits, not 12. One parcel, Tuesday. Tracking number, there we go. Right. Bear with me while I just sort this out for Judith. There she is. No, wrong one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I've only got 12 numbers. There you go. That's what's on my receipt, and you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 numbers. How many did you say? It should be 16 digits, not 12, so it won't track. No, it's only 12. But anyway, you'll see from the thing, maybe you didn't put GB in. I don't know, maybe you did. I don't know why that would be the case, but that's the only number I've got, Judith. So, let's hope it's delivered by Friday. I don't want any more problems. Had enough. I've had enough problems. I don't want any more. What's a man got to do? Right. Yes, put GB in. Don't know then. I have absolutely no idea, unless it might be an inter-parcel tracking number. Did you try and search the tracking number on Hermes, or did you go to Interparcel? I got a funny feeling you might have gone to Hermes. So I would suggest going to Interparcel and try tracking it on there, because it's an Interparcel tracking number. And I think what probably happens, this is going to be my guess, but what probably happens is essentially 2 tracking numbers are produced then. One Interparcel and one proper Hermes one. But the one they put on the Interparcel is only 12 digits, or 12 characters. as you see with the photo that I just sent you. So we'll just add that on. I did it on Hermes. Okay. Yeah, try it. That's the only thing I suggest. Try it on Into Parcel and see whether or not you can actually track it on there. But it's definitely gone, and I have no reason to assume that it won't be with you tomorrow. It's got signature paid for, but they shouldn't ask you to sign for it. They should just deliver it to you and then beep it or sign for it themselves as you take it off them. And remember, all of you, number will change when Hermes get it, Chris says. Now remember, all of you, when you get these packages through, right, give them a wipe over. Don't ignore it. And you're not going to like me for saying this, but when you get your shopping through, make sure you wipe your shopping. You know, make sure that when that shopping comes in and you've got your big baskets of shopping, you take the time to put it on a side, and before you put anything away, wipe every single piece of shopping. Brilliant, Judith. In the Parcel worked. Right, you've got to wipe your bits of shopping. Now, I was talking to somebody last night and they was like, oh, really? Oh, just, you know, that's not going to get done. I'm not going to wipe every bit of shopping that comes into my house. And I get that. I don't feel like wiping every bit of shopping that comes into my house. Every Dolmio jar, every bottle of milk, every can of beans, I've got to now wipe everything. Everything. I'm not looking forward to that. I don't like that idea at all. But what's going to make me do it is the fact that I know I haven't exactly got a great deal to live for, but I don't particularly want to die yet. You know, I mean, I know the world ain't going to miss me if I pop my clogs next week, but I'm not ready to go. And so I'm not ready to take them kind of chances. You know, if I find out that from what if you look on my personal Facebook page, that's my family personal one, you'll see a notice I put up there. And maybe even, Chris, would you mind, because you know how to do it, can you put the link straight to that post that I put up? Because when you click on the share button, you can actually copy a link. So if you could put the link to the post I put up, and then people can click on it and then they go straight to it. And on that post I put up, it's only a photograph, it's not a video, and on that post I put up, it is it was from Australian Press, and it's from the Australian Press, and information that they say they're quoting from the World Health Organization, and they're talking about things like cardboard, 24 hours. So that says to me, well, cardboard, paper, none of that, I can trust it. So even an envelope that comes through the letterbox needs to be wiped or handled with gloves and then hands washed afterwards. I'm always touching my face all the time, scratching all the time. So for me, I'm thinking elementary, I'm thinking logical. Let's look at this logically. The virus started on the 17th of November, 17th. That was the very first case. That was then when Mr. Lee, and he was a Chinese doctor. He did a blog post about the fact that that there was this SARS-like virus that had just appeared. That was on the 17th of November. That is the very first mention of this virus. There it is. If you click on that and you have a look at the photograph, it tells you on there how long it lasts. So you've got things like cardboard, 24 hours, I think. Now you've got glass, that's the one that sticks in my mind. That's 9 days. This was sent to me by one of you. Then doorknobs and things like that, 4 days. Anyway, have a look at it. It might surprise you and it might make you stop and think. because this started. Mr. Lee first mentioned this on the 17th of November, and the Chinese government, they and the officials and the hierarchy, they came down on him like a ton of bricks, and they trampled all over the information, and they tried to suppress it. And it wasn't until, I think it was the 1st of December, that they're actually sitting down talking to the World Health Organization and starting to give figures and stuff like that. So it was a good 6 weeks. That virus was out there, boom, and they weren't stopping it, and they put things on. They started to put things on lockdown when they realised they couldn't control it, and very quickly they put Wuhan and all of that area on lockdown. And the problem with Wuhan is, the reason that Wuhan comes up so much, and was probably used by Dean Koontz, I would imagine, is because Wuhan is a bit like Spaghetti Junction. So much stuff comes in to Wuhan from all over the place. It is a massive junction-y thing for traffic, people. So that's why I imagine people like Dean Koontz would have used it in a book 20, 30 years ago, because it would be like saying, I don't know, it would be like saying, it would be a bit like picking somewhere famous like South Mim Services on the M25 and saying that a virus started from there. It's quite plausible, because it could. You know, a busy place like that, it's got a lot of traffic coming into it from all directions. That might be a daft example, but you get my drift. And they suppressed it, and they made him look stupid and all that. Hi John, hope you're well this morning, mate. And now he's a national hero. Now the Chinese government have turned the tables on that. He's treated as a national hero, and the officials that reprimanded him and etc. Have been dealt with in some way. Now, why was I going on about that? So that was, and you know, today's the 1st of April. So it happened on the 17th of November. Today is the 1st of April. It is April Fool's Day, and I'm not joking when I put in the title that the live food markets are back open. So they've started opening live food markets again before the virus is even finished. It's not even finished yet. It's not even done its course around the world yet, and they're going back and they're starting them up again, ready for another one. So you know, it could be so easy to get these viruses going on and going on and going on and going on, because the animal rights and the human rights issues are not being addressed around the world. These countries are being let into, yeah, let's trade, let's do this, let's do that, let's all be friends internationally and all the rest of it. And just a favour, just work on your animal rights, would you? Because it doesn't really look good to everybody around the world, but we need to trade with, because we can earn millions of pounds out here. But do us a favour, just try and do something about your human rights and your animal rights, and that's all they ever do. Oh please, come on, just do something about that. It doesn't really look good. And some of the pictures that I've seen even now are sick. I didn't even know they did it. I knew that people, cultures like this, I knew that they would eat things like dogs and cats and things like that. I know that they do this around the world. You know, we love our dogs and cats, and we think they're wonderful pets, and can't even contemplate the thought of somebody eating one. Somebody eating Casper. I mean, I'd kill him before I let them anywhere near him, as you probably would for your pet, right? And you would imagine, as maybe as I have, hi Angela, I've imagined in my mind some kind of humaneness of some description. You know, you slit an animal's throat and then you skin it and cook it. And I've seen pictures of dogs going into a frying pan alive, and as they are, hair, everything, can't get the images out of my head. I mean, if you know, we cannot. How can we trade with people? How can we trade with a culture like that? No matter who that culture is, how could we trade with it? That's just, it's abominable. It just should not happen. You know, how many of us have seen those pictures over the dolphins where that culture over there herds them all into a bay and then they just smash them to pieces with great big bats and all of that. They don't even humanely kill the dolphins for the meat and all that. They just literally go in there as a bloodbath and they turn the sea red. And I've seen that documentary. And you've got people crying, standing up there watching because they can't do anything else. The evilness of the way that this is all going on. And it's not stopping. None of us so-called Western civilized cultures are stopping people doing this. And we're taking the view that, well, it's their country. It's their country and it doesn't affect us. As long as we can go in there and do some trade and make billions of pounds for the richest people in the world, that doesn't really matter. You know, we can turn a blind eye to what they're doing with animal rights and human rights because we're making so much money. And it's not until the greedy bastards of the world who want to make all of this money because no matter how much they've got, it just isn't enough and they've got to make more. It's not until people like that wake up, pardon me, and do the right thing. There's a moral thing to do, there's a right thing to do, and there's a legal thing to do. And all three of them don't always cross. And sometimes you've got to do what's right, and sometimes you've got to do what's moral. You know? And I think this is a really, really, really dangerous situation because the diseases that are infectious, that seem to travel the world, seem to keep coming from live food markets and bad animal rights. That's how it seems to me. I'm just Joe Public. I ain't no one special. But that's how it seems to me. So if that's going to keep happening, it needs to be stopped, don't you think? Hello, Mark. Nice to see you, mate. And I think all of that stuff needs to be stopped. Now, I'm going to show you something that you can watch. It's about an hour long, right? And I don't know if you can get it from that, because when Butch pinned a web address to the top of the chat, I couldn't click on it. So I don't know if any of you guys can click on it. But that link that I put at the top of the chat is where I get the information from of November the 17th being the first case. And I really suggest each and every one of you click on that link or copy that link, and then later on, well, as soon as you get a chance, I suggest you watch that. And if you're anything like me, you will probably watch it open-mouthed, and then you will want to watch it again at some point. I'm already thinking, I think I need to watch this 2 or 3 times. Link works okay. Brilliant. It's a TED Talks. It's what's called TED Talks. If you've never heard of TED Talks are absolutely brilliant. There was a TED Talks one day, this comes into something Soundwave Man, I think it was, that said the other day about overpopulation and that sort of thing. There was a TED Talk that I watched, and after that TED Talk, I totally understood that it is not possible to overpopulate the world. It's not possible. Can't happen. So all this talk of people, oh, there's too many people and there's not enough room on the planet and all the rest of it, it's not possible. Absolutely not possible. Just by watching this one TED Talk, and I totally understood it. Totally understood it. So, watch that video and have a little look around TED Talks. You know, have a little, when you're a bit bored sometimes, you know, think, well, I don't know what to do, don't know what to watch. Have a little look at TED Talks and look at some of the stuff on TED Talks. That is some seriously interesting stuff. And I just think, I think we need to, I don't know how, if I know how would you do it? But I think as a people, collectively, around the world, we need to be able to say, no, don't want that. It's too dangerous. Stop doing it. I mean, what do they get out of it anyway? What does the Chinese economy get out of all of that? These animals, they're half starved. They can't be selling for much. I mean, they can't make much money. You know, they're on a push bike and they've got 40 animals on their shoulders, on hanging off sticks. I mean, if they were making any money, surely they'd have bought a car to transport things. Surely they'd have bought a van. So I can't get how the economy, how it adds to the economy to make it worthwhile to keep leaving it there and leaving them doing it. Really don't. Anyway, so that's what that's some of the things I'm looking at of late. I like to know I like to get to the bottom of things. I think, well, how does that happen then? I don't really get how that's happening, you know. And all the figures that we are getting, every single figure you are getting, you can double it. You can just double it. So when they tell you that 20,000 people in the UK have got it, you know it's 40. When they tell you that 10,000 people around the world have just died from it, you know it's not, it's 20. Whatever figure they're giving, you can double it. Because nobody around the world is giving the same figures. So as of is it the 1st or the 7th of February? As of around about there, and you'll know this when you watch that TED Talks that I've put up. But somewhere around, what was I going to say? You had to break out. I spoke to the World Health Organization at the beginning of January, I think it was. And then, I forgot what I was going to say now. And it was mind-blowing. It would have changed your life forever, and I can't remember what it was. It will come back to me. But there was something happened at the beginning of November that I was going to talk about. November was when it started. December, January. Oh yeah, that's it. So, as of January/February, something around there, the Chinese someone catches the virus, someone dies from the virus, someone catches the virus and lives, therefore they don't die from the virus. I think they call that asymptomatic. Really important. So, you count the number of people that catch it, which is the three figures that you've been getting now for a couple of months. Number of people that have got it, the number of people that died, the number of people that are asymptomatic. China stopped including the asymptomatic people, these ones, they stopped including them in the figures 2 months ago. So none of the figures that we get from China are real. None of the figures are actually real because they stopped. If you remember, Butch noticed that. He noticed that for 2 weeks there were countries like China and Iran and who was the other one? South Korea and I think somebody else. There was 3 or 4 countries that had stopped reporting where Butch had noticed that their figures hadn't changed in 2 weeks, and that can't be possible. It's not possible. So yeah. So was a lot there to consider. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? A lot to consider. Because if we can't get the proper information, if you can't get the right information out of China, and you can't get the right information out of Iran, and you can't get the right information out of America, and you can't get the right information out of England, then we're all pretty screwed, aren't we? Because then no one knows, well, where's this going to peak? They think it's going to peak in a couple of weeks, and I don't think it can. Because I think you've got all these people at home, people like you and me, that ain't going out, and we're going to get the virus. And we're going to get the virus because we're going to touch a parcel or a packet or a bottle of milk or, scratch my nose again, you know, or someone else's phone. Glass. 9 days. Glass. 9 days. That includes your phone. A good reason to not touch anybody else's phone. And I'll tell you something else you didn't know. Every single phone, apparently, hopefully, apart from mine, but, and someone like Ailey would probably be able to go and test this out in the lab one day and go, do you know what, Ian, I'm going to test this out in the lab and we're going to see whether you're right or not. Most phones, if you swab them and test them and all of that, you will find feces on most phones. It's because people go to the toilet, wipe their bum, and they're on their phone while they're on the toilet. They're on the phone while they're on the toilet, and they wipe their bum, and then they get up and they put their phone down, and then they wash their hands. And then they wash their hands, and then put the phone up again. How many people do you know will go to the toilet, sit on the toilet? All these people that talk about using their phone when they go to the toilet, right? The question I always come up with is like, oh yeah, so you sit there and you use the phone on the toilet. So when you're finished and you've had your poo and you've wiped your bum, is the first thing that you do clean your phone before you get off the toilet? Is that the first thing you do? Or do you just put your phone down, get off the toilet, pull your pants up, wash your hands, and then put your phone up again, walk out of the toilet? So apparently, most phones, if any of you are people that have used your phone in the toilet, I work in a laser lab, but I bet you know the right person to ask though, Ailey. I bet you there's another department out down the corridor or whatever, and you could go in there and you could say, look, what's the chances of us just testing this at random? You know, would it be a good idea or whatever, just to see, this is what Ian says, or this is what someone says I know, is this right? It'd be really interesting to have, you know, and people, and just the people. What would be even more interesting is all you bloody laboratory rats, all you laboratory coats, lab coats, all the white lab coats like you, Ailey. That would be interesting. Is then going in and go, yeah, let's do this, and let's test our own phones. Because you're all technicians, you're all labs, you're all in white coats, you're all wearing gloves, you're all wearing masks. How many of you do that? That'd be interesting. So, and I can't stop touching my face, my nose, everything. So, you know, so you got that explosion to have, yeah, and you got that across the country. And I just think it's elementary because we know that there are challenge accepted. We know that there are tens of thousands of people that are essentially classed as frontline staff now. So you've got all of these people all over the country that are working, and as I was talking about yesterday, none of them that I've seen so far, and I'm the bottom end of the country, none of them so far are wearing protective gear. No gloves, no masks. Think how much must be on a phone of a Tory MP. Exactly. You know, take up the challenge, Ailey. This would be a really cool one for you to go into her and say, do you know what I mean? Be really interesting. So, I forgot what I was saying again. So yeah, all these frontline staff, and they're all over the country, and they're not wearing gloves. This morning, my postman, my post lady this morning, my regular post lady, I'm talking to her outside. No gloves, no mask. And she's like, but it's all right. We're all right out here. This is the best place for us to be. I'm not coming anywhere near your door. We step back and we're out in the fresh air. And yeah, so I'm all right. And I'm like, really? So I've just been reading this and I was telling her about the stuff, and her jaw just dropped. Her jaw hit the floor. So they're not even being properly given advice. They're not being given the proper advice. Nobody's talking and giving the employees that are on the front line the right advice. I mean, these gloves, it's like, it's one thing to be going on about the fact that we do not have the respirators and the ventilators and all of that kind of stuff. What I don't understand is, yeah, but what's the bollocks with the gloves? What's all that? How have we not got gloves? These gloves are made and sold in a box that big. And there's 1,000 in there because they are so thin. There's 1,000 gloves in a box. 1,000. Throwaway gloves, you just put them on, you do what you're going to do and you throw them away. 1,000 in one tiny, tiny box. So how is it possible even that none of the staff in the supermarkets, none of the staff in the shops, none of the key workers anywhere that I've seen so far are wearing gloves? The garage, no gloves, no masks. It's almost like people are on the front line, and the people that are on the front line and the people that are putting them on the front line, it's almost like they're thinking that these people are indestructible. That it's either that or it's just complete cannon fodder. You know, throw enough mud at it and see what sticks. What falls off and goes by the wayside, well, it's a shame. Survival of the fittest. That's how I sort of see it. Hello, Lee. Hi, Ian. Can I ask a question? If my boss sends me home on 80% wages, is it the boss of my works? I have no idea, Lee. Even as an employer, I have no idea. I think a lot of that thing are done by accountants and stuff, but I don't know, because we haven't found anything yet. See, you've got this business interruption fund that's been set up. It was the first thing that was set up, a business interruption fund. So you would think, well, that's Ian straight away. Ian, it's interrupted Ian's business, he can claim. He can go and get a loan. Whatever. I haven't been able to find a link for the business interruption fund. They've been saying, I've even seen a thing come out from the government, an email from the government saying that they've spoken to all the banks are on board, everybody knows what's happening, and thousands of these applications are already being made. Where are they getting them from then? Who's doing them? Because I go onto my Santander bank and the only option I can find is an option to apply for an overdraft. And if I get turned down for that overdraft, then they will look at tapping me into the fund. Only then will they look at giving me an application or passing my application onto the fund. So the information that they're giving out, that they're saying people can tap into, they can't tap into it as easy as what they're saying. And that's frustrating, because I still don't know. You know, everything I do, I'm looking at the current information that I'm seeing, and then I'm dissecting that, and I'm, interpreting that the way that I interpret it. I'm interpreting it the best way I can and doing what I can. But there's so much misinformation and there's so much lies and untruths being told. How does a country, here's a logical question for you, right? Elementary. How does a country with 1.5 billion people, how is it that within a couple of months that country is supplying other countries with face masks? They've got 1.5 billion people to look after. We've only got 70 million and we ain't got enough face masks for the few thousand people that are on the front line. So how is China, how is a country not only managing to supply all the people they need to supply with masks and gloves and all the rest of it, but they're also managing to supply other places in the world? And there's only one hospital that I've found so far, from what I've seen, that has had 0 cases of the nurses and doctors falling down sick or dying. Only one hospital. And the hospital is the hospital in Italy, the Hospital for Infectious Diseases. And if you look in that hospital and you look at the way the staff are working in that hospital, they are head to toe, because it is a hospital of infectious diseases, although at the moment it is only COVID-19 patients that they're seeing. But it is a infectious diseases hospital. So everything in that hospital, they are geared up for infectious diseases coming in. Therefore, all the nurses, proper head to toe, fully covered, waterproof, everything. They are fully, absolutely covered when they walk into a room. And when you've got them in the room, seeing to the patients, the nurses getting the syringes and injections and tablets and all that sort of stuff ready, they're not even in the same room. Not even in the same room. They're outside in the corridor. Anybody that was watching Al Jazeera last night would have seen that. They're outside in the corridor. These people are not going in. They're not mixing. And they're observing strict protocols in this hospital. And it's just 2 simple things the bloke said. Number 1, you've got to observe strict protocols. And we do that in here. Strict. These people do not even come into contact with each other. Strict protocols. Number 2, you've got to have the right equipment, which they've got in that one place. So in that one place, none of the medical staff are going to fall ill. And we know that, and all of the bobs know that, and all of your politicians know that, and all the people that you voted for know that. And they've sold us down the river, sold an entire country down the river for that, for money. It's the only reason they didn't stop the bloody travel in the first place. It's all because of the money. And these are the people that, well, I didn't vote them into power, but these are the people we voted into power. You know, Jeremy Hunt will go down in history. There is nothing that man can do now. That man's life, for a legacy, that man's life is over. Jeremy Hunt will forever be known as the man that decimated the NHS. And he did it, 2 years, 3 years before a virus hit. Because that's what Jeremy Hunt was there for, wasn't it? To cut the NHS back to the bare bones and save as much money as possible, and he did. And then he went and he moved on to something else. These people should be vilified. These people should be put in the stocks. These people should be sacked immediately and made to pay from their personal fortunes, made to pay for the damage that they've done personally. That was their job. You messed it up, you're going to pay for it. I had conversation I was having a conversation with my son last night, and he was talking to me about this person that works for him, and he said this bloke really messed up and cost him a lot of money. And but the person that had made that mistake came forward and went, I'm really sorry, I know what I've done, and I realise what I've done, and now I've done it, and all the rest of it, and I'm really sorry about it, and there's nothing I can do but offer for you to take so much out of my wages each month, and I'll pay this off in 4 months. That's what that person said to him. And my answer to that was, that person, he said, what do you think about that, Dad? I said, well, I'll tell you what I think. I think that person's worth 10 of any other people you got. Immediately, I'll tell you that. Because I've been in business a lot of years, and I've had lots of businesses, and I've employed lots of staff, and I have never once, in all the time I've been in business, and all of the people that I've employed, I've never once had somebody come to me and say, I'm sorry I made that mistake. Take it out of my wages. Never seen that in my life. Never had anybody do that to me. It's always a case of like, oh, sorry. And I'm the dopey idiot that's paying for it. And that's happened everywhere I've gone, you know. Don't know why I dropped that conversation in, but, you know, I suppose people that you can count on. You need people that you can count on. You don't need people that are just going to tell lies and just be there for the money, for what they're getting out of it. And half our politicians are like that. When you have somebody that's prepared to put their hands up and say, look, that was down to me, I take responsibility for that, I'm really sorry, that is a person that's worth their weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. None of our politicians do that. None of our politicians will put their hands up and go, sorry about that, I got that completely wrong, that's my fault and I feel bad. No. It's excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse and blame somebody else. And we're in a state. This country is in a complete and utter state, and it's not anybody else but the Conservatives that did it. We've been on this austerity drive for 10 years. Fool's economy, complete waste of time, didn't need it. We never needed to go on any austerity drive, because at the end of the day we ain't saving nothing. We're going to be trillions of pounds in debt anyway as a country. So it didn't do us any favours, all of this austerity. All austerity means we, the people that are running the country, are going to tighten the belt on the entire country, and we're going to do that, and we're going to fill our pockets at the same time. Because we're really important people, and we're making all these decisions, and we're saving the country money, so we should get bonuses and all of that. And I just think these people running the country, well, it's just being proven time and time and time and time again that they're making the wrong decisions, and we're paying them to do that. You know, I mean, I don't like the fact that Boris and his chums, 20, 30, 40, I don't care if it was 100 years ago, I don't care when it was, I don't like the fact that they got photographed being so cocky that they could take a 10 or a 20 or a 50, whatever the value of the note was, and set light to it in front of a homeless person. That is just evil. Anybody that can do that that's just evil. That is the same type of person that will pull legs off animals just to see what happens. That's the sort of person that will tie a firecracker to a cat's tail, or a firework to a cat's tail. That's what that sort of person does. And he was voted to run our country. I mean, there is an argument to be had to say, you voted for that. That's what you voted for, you lot. And you got what you deserved. You put these greedy, dirty, horrible, nasty, underhanded people into power, and that's what you get. Now, would we have got the same thing under Labour? Probably. It's not that I'm saying the Conservatives are all bad and Labour's all right and all the rest of it. They all had their chance. I've seen in the last 20 years, I've seen Conservatives in power, I've seen Labour in power, and I've seen Liberals as close to power as what they could possibly get. And every single time they sell the country down the river. What's his chops did with the Liberals? He sold the country down the river, sold all the students down the river, went back on his word and all that kind of stuff, just because he tasted a little bit of Deputy Prime Minister. You don't hear from him anymore, do you? Because he was nothing more than a wet rag to the Prime Minister. He was no deputy. He wasn't a Deputy Prime Minister. He had no gumption about him. He didn't have any backbone. He had not 1 ounce of stand on your own 2 feet and stand up for what you believe in. He had none of that. He was just a puppet because of that. So they're all the same. We put them in power and they screw the country. And we have to go, well, thanks for that. Really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. So when a country votes a man in as Prime Minister and that man is so evil, he would stand in front of a homeless person, set fire to a note. That person can't run the country. And he was voted in to run the country. So what do we expect? As a nation, what do we expect? Our MP down here is Richard Drax. Richard Drax is a posh Conservative. And when asked to help a charitable project to help people with bankruptcy and so on, his words were, and I quote, "One can't put one's name to those kinds of people. One has to be very careful who one puts one's names to." And I said that almost without tripping up. But that was his actual words. And I know that because I was the one he said them to. And I was as far away from his face as what this iPad is from mine, and I just wanted to punch him. So all I wanted to do was punch his head in at the time. This is our MP, Richard Drax, whose money, I hasten to add, whose entire family money comes from slavery. That's where they made their riches from. Huge. The estate down here, huge. Wherever you live, I don't know, wherever you live, the biggest park that you can think of, his estate is bigger. Huge. It's so big, his garden wall is so long that on a weekly basis almost, or every few weeks or whatever, a car will crash through the wall. There are so many accidents along that road, so many accidents. And a lot of those accidents are caused by the fact that the road is very windy at a certain point and it is not very wide and so on. And it could be made a fair bit wider because all they've got to do is move his wall. If he was to move his wall 12 feet, then that road would be one of the safest roads in Dorset. That's all he's got to do is knock that wall down, move it 12 feet inwards and give the public that 12 foot or something like that. And that road would be the safest road in Dorset, one of. But it's not, it's one of the most dangerous roads in Dorset. And, but then that's nothing for a man whose family's money came from blood. So, you know, blood, sweat and tears. And death. And I hate him for that. I have absolutely no feeling of warmth for people like that whatsoever. I hate him for that. Because the only thing you're interested in is money and you just don't care about people, all of those people. Regardless of what party is in power, they don't make the decisions they're told what they need to implement by the higher authority. Conspiracy theory of the New World Order. Yeah, you see, you know, you can't go wrong with a lot of that stuff. There are people that want New World Orders. There are people that want a reset. Trouble is, all these people that want a New World Order and a reset, they don't sit down and think about what it will actually be like when it happens. You know, so if you take us all back to the Stone Ages, oh great, then what are you going to do? The people that did it will end up getting killed first, I should imagine. Ian, have you ever thought of standing yourself? Mark Dando thought that was as funny as I do. Yeah, I wanted to be a politician once, but they wouldn't have me. I remember having a meeting with the Green Party, and I said I would love to be a politician, but I've got too many skeletons in my cupboard. They'd have a field day with me, and that was, blimey, that was about 30 years ago. My cupboard's got a lot more fuller since then. So no, I'd come across like a dick. I'd come across like Donald Trump, probably. I'd come across as stupid as him. You know, I don't think it'd be any good for me. I often joke about it. Vote for Ian for Prime Minister. Vote for Ian for President. I'll fix the world. It's so easy to fix It's so easy to fix the world. It's not hard. It really ain't hard. You've got three countries arguing over a bit of land. Sit down and have a chat and a cup of tea and sort it out. Divvy it up a bit. Come to an arrangement that everybody's happy with. You know, it'd be so easy. I'll solve all your problems. Bit subliminal. I'll fix the world. There isn't anything that can't be fixed if you put your mind to it. Nice and simply too. Eradicating homelessness, easy. Eradicating poverty, so easy. All these things that nations can't do, it's like, but it's the easiest thing to do, it's the easiest thing in the book to do. Solve the homeless people, no problem. Solve poverty, no problem. People not enough food, easy. Vote for Ian. Power to the people. Citizen. And all of that. So what else are we going to talk about then? I've been talking a load of bullets for ages. What else are we going to talk about? I want to talk so much about China, and then again I get fed up talking about China. But I do. What's happening here? Nothing much. Settled Judith. Working on Nanny. Work on Ailey next. And then, other than that, listing things on eBay. Try and make some cash on eBay. I haven't got our website back yet. I don't think I'm going to get that back, you know. I'm worried about that. I've got a funny feeling that's gone now. It's such a shame. Such a shame to lose so much. All that work. All the work that gets put into things, that's a bit that upsets me. All that work. I hate it. I hate doing work and having somebody come along and trash it. I really hate that. And it's happened so many times. It's like spending so much time building a property, and then you turn up for work and somebody smashed it down, and you think, well, all right, start again. And you do it again, then someone comes along, smashes it down to bits. You think, all right, okay, start again. Let's get the first brick, and then someone else comes along and smashes that down. Feels a bit like that sometimes. Feels a bit like too much. And all you can do is get through it, you know. You've got to wake up in the morning and start again. Which is what I keep bloody doing. How's it all for you anyway? That's enough about me. How's it for you? Who's going to talk to me? Tell me what it's like where you are. Out of what I've been saying, what have you noticed where you are? Are you noticing people wearing gloves? Are you noticing anybody wearing masks? Because if that doesn't change, there's going to be 20 to 50,000 people will go off like that all at once. That's just in the retail sector. That's not the NHS. You've probably got another 20, 30, 40,000 going to go like that with the NHS, all staff. Fran's brother works up in Lincolnshire, and the hospital that he's working in, dropping like flies. That was his words. All the staff are dropping like flies because they're not protected. So they're just going in there like cannon fodder and seeing to people and then catching it themselves, and some of those people are dying, like that first consultant. What a waste. What a waste of a life. I mean, it's such a waste, it should be criminal. The consultant, with the experience that he's got, all the training that he's done, gone, dead. Just for no other reason than the fact that he didn't have a pair of gloves and a mask and a proper equipment. I've noticed a lot more police and community support officers on the estate. Are they wearing gloves? That's what I'm interested in knowing. Are they wearing gloves, Suticus? Are these, because all the police officers we keep seeing, they ain't wearing masks or gloves, and none of them are wearing protective equipment. Not to go out shopping yet. I've got a mask that I will wear when I do go out. Good girl, I haven't got one. The odd one or two are public, but only see one shop worker with gloves and a mask. One sensible person. Either that or they've managed to buy it themselves. I mean, that's what I would do. I'd go out and buy it myself. No, they weren't wearing gloves. Please. I'd go out and buy them myself. I don't know why people are not doing that. I really don't get it. And there's so many people still not taking it seriously, isn't there? I want to show you something. How would you like to look at some nasty, what's this? What's this? And all you can say is, John, you crack me up, you really do. John put up a post on Facebook. John Warren there. He's put a post up on Facebook. Don't usually play these games, he says, but I'm bored. Just fill in the blanks and let me know a little bit about you. Let me know a little bit more about you. And he's got bank account number, sort code, card number, name on card, expiry date, CCV. I like it. Now, where's that one I want to show you? Evil bastards. Let me show you. Where is it? I don't know why I haven't got it. Let's see if I can. There it is. Okay, this is us. This is our country, right? What you have here, can you see that? That is a 3-camera. So there's 3 cameras on this street. And this street is Satinwood Crescent in L31, wherever L31 is. And it says 1:50 AM, dirty scumbag rats. And they're absolutely right. Absolutely right. I would love to go up against the 5 of these. Oh my goodness, would I? 5 of them there is, right? Here they are. You've seen this, Angela, 5 of them. And look how tough they are as the 5 of them all together there, spread across the road, right? Aren't they tough? Tough kids with their big hoodies, right? These people Let's see if we can. You see them? Here we go. Let's have a little look in there. Let's see what we can nick. Yeah. Because we're not at war with anybody. So because we're not at war with anybody, let's do what the British people do best. Yeah? Let's do what the British people do best. And let's just attack and rob each other. That's a good idea. Calm it down a bit if we go to war with somebody. But of course, whilst we're not fighting anybody else, let's go and rob each other. Let's go and see how much we can steal off each other. Know what I mean? Like a little team of sissy girls they are. Off they go, down the street, 2 o'clock in the morning, while people are in bed, just robbing whatever they can. Anything will do, I don't mind. Anybody got a pack of peppermints in their car, I'll smash the window. Dirty, dirty, dirty bastards. I was telling you about this, wasn't I? I was telling you about this, how many weeks ago? Wait till it starts. And that's nothing. What you're seeing there, that's nothing. If that angers you, that's nothing. And it angers me, and that's nothing. Compared to what's happening right now, that's nothing. There are people knocking on doors. Knock, 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 knock. Then when you open the door, they come in, bang, and rob you. Who are you going to call? Well, you can call the police. How quick are they going to get there? And this is going on all over the country. All over the country. And the only good thing is that there are a lot more people now with these doorbell cams, and these doorbell cams pick up all sorts, because these sorts of people are thick. They are absolute. I mean, it's not, you mustn't call people thick nowadays, and you mustn't call them stupid. I grew up being called stupid my entire life. But you mustn't call people stupid, and you mustn't call them thick, because it's not PC, but they are thick. There are more brains in my underpants than these 5 have got between them. And people like this, people that will steal off their own people, you know, something you learned in the old days. I was having this conversation with my son about communities the other day, and he said about communities, and I said, what you're talking about is finished, it's gone, and it will never come back. Proper communities, I remember those days. I remember those days when you might have a block of flats with 600 people in it, but most of those people would be there for 20 years. You have a community, a council estate, a private, it doesn't matter what the estate is. In the old days, people would look after each other. You know, there were rules. Yes, people went out on the rob. Yes, people went out doing this. But there were things that you did not do. Like, for example, you don't knock on somebody's door that's 70 years old, walk in and smash their face to a pulp. You don't do that, because even the local criminals will tear you to pieces. That's how it was back in the day. You could still be a respectful crook, as it were, back in the day. Not anymore. No one cares. Back in the day, someone saw someone with a kiddie, they knew immediately whether there was something out of place or not, and they barged in, wallop. Oi, what are you doing? Even people that have fallen out with people, oi, what are you doing with her kid? Oi? And things like that. You don't get, no, not as much now as what it was then. People don't look out for each other. You could have somebody screaming blue murder, they're getting their face punched in 2 doors down the street, and you can hear the screams from your house. How many people phone the police? Not many. People don't care. People only care about themselves now. You know, the communities that were there don't exist anymore. thanks to Margaret Thatcher and Norman Tebbit and, again, the Conservatives who decimated that. And that makes me sound like I'm some kind of, hang on, yeah, I prefer the Nota 288 mug. Makes the tea taste nicer. We used to have communities in them days. I remember what street party was like. I remember what real care in the community was like. It's not like it is now. I could strip off right now, bollock naked. I can walk out my front door. I could walk 200 yards across there, and I walk 200 yards back again, and nobody would stop me. Stay my bag flapping and everything, and I bet nobody would stop me. Again, might be another one of my crap examples, but that's just, you know, that's how I see people nowadays. I see communities nowadays. There ain't no such thing as a community feel like there used to be. So you don't have communities looking out for each other. And you've got a situation across the country where you don't have communities looking out for each other, and on top of that, you also don't have the local bobby anymore. So when you did have communities and you did have local bobbies, and that sort of worked. But we didn't like it, so we changed it. Now, no community. I've been here 3 years. I know their name. I know their name. I think her name's Claire. His name's Richard. That's as much as I know. We've been here 3 years. Never been in my house for a cup of tea. Never been in my house for a cup of tea. Never been in their house for a cup of tea. Never been in their house for a cup of tea. And I've lived here 3 years. I remember when I was 17, moving into a house. Next door neighbour came round with a cake. And I remember, again, moving into a house, well, actually, when I left Peterborough many years ago, and 20 years ago, and we ended up in Crewkerne, neighbour came round with a cake. Hello, just thought I'd pop round, introduce myself. Or neighbours would come and help you, move, lift some boxes, that kind of thing. And you'd get chatting to people, or you'd go and offer to help them, and you'd get chatting to people, you know what I mean? It's all gone. It's not there anymore. So, here we go. Ooh. And that is going to be a good point for us to call it a day, I think. Only because I think I'm having a movement. And you can probably hit my stomach. So that's not good. Okay, so we'll call it a day there. I've had a little ramble. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll talk another load of bollocks and have another little ramble. I miss Butch. Butch, I miss you. Hurry up. Get this sorted out. Whatever you've got to get sorted out, come back. Get this virus finished and get back to work properly. Now, you lot take care. You lot take care, and yeah, and in the meantime, they could have the virus, be touching the cars, so next day you go out and touch door handles. Yeah, what do you do about that? Touch, 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 touch. Anyway, I have to go. So, we will catch up tomorrow. Right, be there or be square. See you later.